ご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。
There's also like inconsistencies with bust size for Lucy.
Oh God.
Which I'm gonna say there is an argument to be made that, you know, Lucy can wear whatever the hell she wants. She's an independent woman, consistently needs somebody, but she's a woman with her own sort of thought process, and she can wear whatever she wants, and that's fine. But also, her bust size transforms within frames more than a pregnant woman from when she's not pregnant to when she is pregnant. Like, that's how bad it is. And it's just, it makes me sad. Makes me a little sad.
Does it make you sad?
It makes me, it upsets me a little bit. And there's another argument to be made that the male characters are usually shirtless. And there's fan service to be done for both genders, which is understandable. I get that.
But
and I get that in anime that's very normal, because you do see, like, you have very well sculpted male characters, and you have well, quote unquote, sculpted female characters, and that's okay. But then not at the detriment of the character themselves.
Is that your line in the sand? Is that your line in the sand, Mariya?
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to get at. Like, I get it, and for what it's worth, it seems this is sort of like part of comes part and parcel of anime, where you have these beat scenes and you have these characters that are consistently, you know, not wearing a lot of clothes, and it's understandable. Again, in a beat scene scenario, yes, it's understandable for female characters and male characters to not be wearing any clothes, or wearing very limited clothes. But then in the context of, say, Urza, for example, who is supposed to be an S-class wizard, whose main power is armor and weapons. But then when she switches to any other kind of armor, it covers her considerably less than her base armor.
That's bizarre.
Which makes no sense. Like, you can have her be curvy and covered at the same time. You can have her be feminine looking and still have her body covered. It doesn't take away from that. If you want her to be, for example, and a good example is Momo from My Hero Academia.
Oh.
There is some, even if it's a very flimsy reason, there is some reason for her to have more skin exposed.
She's also an outlier most of the time.
Exactly.
The other women are pretty covered up.
Yeah, they're well clad, you know. Yeah. The most of them are. And again, like, there's an argument to be made for Momo to be more covered. Sure.
Yes.
But no matter how flimsy that reason is, there is still a reason for it. Mm-hmm. With Urza, there is no reason for it other than they just want more of her body showing. Which is especially prominent in the fight scene with the tree flute,
where the only part of her that's animated is her bust.
Yeah, with the only part of her being animated nicely is her, like, sort of that top aerial view where you can see her, like, bust area.
Mm-hmm.
In the start of the fight, and then she doesn't show up in much of the fight after, and then again in the end when she's, like, standing there with the other two guys, and that's what pisses me off. Like, it's not the objectification that pisses me off. It's the terrible timing of the objectification. Because again, there's an argument to be made that the guys are just as less covered as the girls, and I agree with that. That is true, and I like looking at those guys. I'm a straight woman. I like well sculpted men. It's great. But like I said, there's no reason for Urza to be dressed that way.
No.
There is no reason for Lucy's boob size to change consistently throughout one episode. This isn't even throughout the series. This is through one episode itself.
Every shot, it's a different boob size.
Exactly. And what pisses me off is that's the only reason that Lucy is there. Nothing that she does is of any consequence to the plot or storyline, as far as what I have seen.
Nope. She never does anything. That's just, she just follows the very typical blonde damsel in distress stereotype. Like, that's all she's there for. Yep.
And that's all that she does.
Pretty much.
Even her powers involve like charms that come out and do things for her. There's nothing about her doing anything. And that's the problem. That is what the problem is. And even if you noticed in animes like this, especially where there's like power type animes, the male characters always have very simplified powers, which makes them more powerful because they're so simplified. So if you see Natsu, he has fire. If you see Gray, he has ice. You know, simplified, you can do anything. The ice could be an armor, it can be a shield, it can shoot, it can be a bow and arrow shooting things anywhere else. Urza's power, very, very sort of structured. A lot of limitations. There's armor and weapons. There's nothing much else that she can do with it. So she only has that one role to fill. That she is fighting and she has armor. And that's it. So there's no other role for her to fill. There's nothing else for her to do. Whereas with the other two, with the male characters, their powers are so fluid that they could be used for anything. You can be using the ice to protect people, or you can use it as an offensive. You can use it to protect yourself. You can use it to amuse a child. Same with the fire. You can use it to power a hot air balloon. You know, like there's so much more flexibility to their powers, which makes it so much more powerful as compared to a power that is very limited in its sphere, very much sort of curated to a certain area.
That's a very interesting topic.
And it kind of locks them down to that one role. Right. They're not allowed to move from there.
Right. I never thought of it that way. That's very interesting.
And you kind of see that in like My Hero Academia as well, because most of the male characters have those very simplified powers. At least the more powerful ones in at least the the more powerful sort of inner circle cliche niche group that is there of like Deku has super strength, very, very vague power. It's very all encompassing superpower. You can kick hard, you can punch hard, you can block shit. It's great. You have Todoroki, who has both fire and ice, which is also hella vague. Like there's no limitation to that. But then you have someone like Momo, whose powers are so limited to her brain capacity. And I see them do that with Deku because his body is not used to this power, obviously, so he is very much limited. But he can learn through that. There's also a limited brain capacity that someone can have, which there's no sort of limitation capacity on ice and fire or blasting things. For example, Uraraka's powers let her float things and herself. Again, limits her. She can't float that much. You can see her sort of vomit, and she has to like learn. But for others, there is not that limitation. For Deku, he has his bodily limitations, but he's growing out of it. Or I think Todoroki is a very good example, because there is no repercussion on himself for what he's doing.
No.
But we're digressing to something else. But you see what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's an interesting a discourse that I never thought of before.
Right. And I don't think that, I'm not saying that they're doing this on purpose. I'm just saying that there is some kind of argument to be made here.
Right.
That this happens often enough for us to see this happening. A good example where this does not happen is honestly, I'm just pulling from animes that I've watched.
Right.
And is Full Metal Alchemist, where everyone follows the same rules. You can't make more matter. Everything that I forget the basic rule, but you know what I mean. Like,
yes.
You need to use the same amount of material to make something else. Like everyone follows the same rule. No sort of reincarnation or any of that kind of stuff.
Right. You're only limited by your own creativity and these rules.
And yeah, and so there's some rules, and then there's your creativity, and there's no particular sort of like, the only reason one person is more powerful than the other is because they're creative in the way that they use their alchemy, and it's uniform for everyone, for any alchemist, male, female, straight, bi, gay, it doesn't matter. You all follow the same basic rules, and the only thing that limits you is your creativity. Very basic rules for everyone. And that's why
Mariya.
You see all the characters so much more, even male or female, very, very powerful, or very just unique in their own way.
This happened in another series.
What series?
It's terrible. It's called Black Clover. It's a fairy tale ripoff.
Oh, I see.
So that should tell you how good it is.
Okay.
It does the same thing as what you were saying. The main character, Asta, he just gets magic swords out of nowhere. I think they're up his butt or something.
Oh, God.
Whereas the female lead, her power, she can't control her magic, but she's got really strong magic, but she can't control it.
Right.
Whereas,
so hence the limitation.
Yes.
That she can't control it.
Yes.
So it's unruly, and again, puts her at a sort of challenged situation where she has to depend on someone or something because she can't control her powers.
Every other male character is just like, I can do whatever the hell I want.
Right, and this isn't me coming from a very feminist agenda perspective. This is just, I see this.
It is a visible trend that you can point
it's a visible trend that I have noticed, and I just happen to be a woman who noticed it. Like, I'm not trying to push any sort of feminist agenda that the men.
Punish the men. We deserve it.
That it's the men, and it's because of the men, and like
it is because of the men.
Yes, but only because they're the only ones who are actually writing them. And so
more
there's
women,
an argument to be made. There's an argument to be made that there is a possibility that this happens because studios are more male centered, as compared to, say, a female centered or just equally distributed sort of studio.
Yeah. Animation is a sausage fest. That's a very graphic way to put it, James. But sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a thing that I noticed that I thought it would be interesting to point out. Especially in this weird, this is one of the shows that is more blatantly and just unapologetically sexist in its standpoint, where the only reason Urza is strong is because she's manly. You know, like if she's strong, therefore she is man. Is the argument being made here?
Literally,
that is literally the argument that she is strong, therefore she is a man.
Mm-hmm.
There's no sort of room for any kind of syllogisms happening here. That is the logical, you know, as per premises. Urza is strong, man is strong, therefore Urza is man. That is the general logic that is being followed here by most of the characters, which are mostly male. There's only like 3 female characters that we've seen. 4? Who's the 4th one?
We missed one that didn't really show up.
Okay, so 4, and then even like the bystanders are all male, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
Mariya, really quick, is She-Ra the complete antithesis of this show?
Sort of. It is. It very much is a very like I can count 3 male characters. Ketra's a female, right? Ketra is a female.
The cat?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah, she's a female. Yeah. So there's the evil guy. And then Glimmer's best friend.
Yep.
Is a guy.
Yep. Wait, what about the pirate guy?
Yes, the pirate guy. Yes, there's a pirate guy. And then there's that one character in the I forget the name because I haven't watched this, in the evil side who Glimmer's best friend like talks to, and he
gets punked.
Yeah.
We'll watch She-Ra soon.
Lesson to all people in evil groups: don't let the loose screw become too loose. Just tighten him every now and again. Give him some attention, and he won't look for it somewhere else. And spoil all of your plans.
Mariya, we've got to get off of this and talk about the actual what we're here to talk about.
Right.
Even though I brought it up.
Right, you did, James. But yeah, essentially, She-Ra is kind of. We'll talk about it. In our She-Ra episode. Yeah, and then just the whole.
Oh,
like I said.
What's that?
Go ahead.
Oh, can we talk about the fights?
Sure.
And just how poorly animated they are.
They're pretty bad. Yeah, I would say that.
When I think back on a show like One Piece, or even a modern contemporary like My Hero, like you remember the fights.
They were good. I looked forward to the fights.
Yes, because it's an action series. The fights are where you put your time and your effort. If all of this bad animation went into service of really good fights,
oh God,
I could kind of forgive it.
Right.
But
the fights are just as bad.
They're even worse in some regard.
Yeah. And there isn't even much to be done in terms of fighting. Like, they're just making weird gestures and there's magic doing stuff for them. So that could be done so much better, like there isn't much in terms of physical movement that these characters are doing, which maybe if they were doing more hand-to-hand combat, it would be easier for them to animate it as compared to sort of doing like wind animation or fire animation and especially with that regard, they should have more scenes with Urza fighting because it's just a block of a person moving. You don't have to do textures for her.
Right.
You just need those, what keyframes? Is that what you call them?
In-betweens. Or
well, the ones that is from one point to the other point, not the ones in between.
That's Oh, keyframes, yes.
Yeah. So you need good keyframes.
Did we talk about keyframes and in-betweens?
We did not. We should probably talk about that, which is why we brought up fighting.
Right.
In the first place.
Okay. So, the key to good animation is to know what your keyframes are and your in-betweens are.
Right.
Now, your keyframes are the scenes that are going to be on screen for the most amount of time. They look good. You want them to look good. The in-betweens are the shots in those milliseconds where you're moving your character.
Yep.
And in-between shots can look rough. They can look sloppy. It's fine.
Right.
Not everything has to be animated like
perfectly.
Yeah, perfectly, completely on model. And it even looks better if you do make it look bad, because a sword swinging, if it's all perfectly animated, yeah, it'll look nice. But having like a few smears in there where it's just like a solid color gives it a bit more oomph, a bit more actiony.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's how you kind of imagine animated action to look like as well. Like you see you have the keyframe of them lifting the sword up, and you have the keyframe of when the sword has hit the target. And then you just have that blur of like frames where it's just the movement and it's just blurred, you know, like, and that works essentially, you know, like, and they didn't really do that well.
No.
It was very weird.
It was basically just moving the character and then just a still shot of them fighting, and it's awful.
It's just
There's also a good rule during action, is that if you want something to look like it connected, like it hurt, you show it 3 times.
Right.
Have you ever heard that rule?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it too.
Yeah.
Happen a few times. Yeah.
So One Piece will do this a few times. But those fights are fun.
Right.
And animated.
Yeah. No, that's true. And that's the problem with this show, is that the stills aren't that great either. But they aren't. The animations aren't that great either. Like the movement isn't great either.
In Natsu versus Urza, the most animation we got is characters turning their heads.
Yeah, essentially. That was the most that we got out of basically. That's what we got. And that was a very, very short fight too.
God. At least in One Piece, they actually had another fight afterwards, which is why they stopped fighting.
Right. In this one, she just punches him in the gut and he passes out.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why there was an argument in the first place. Again, with like the plot tiering. Like, she's an S class. Natsu was not. There's a reason she's an S class and Natsu was not. There is already a tier bias here. She doesn't need to prove herself by fighting someone who is of a lower tier than she is.
It's so we could have a clickbait title.
And it pisses me off.
Yes.
It's like, why doesn't the dude have to fight him to prove that he's S class? Why can't he just stand on the second floor and just rant about it and everyone can just accept it? But Urza has to, even though she is an S class.
Because, Mariya, as whatever the hell his name was said, she's a woman.
But they call her a man.
It doesn't matter.
I want to flip your argument by saying that they called her a man. Isn't that enough?
Nope.
I'm going to flip your sexist argument on you. They called her a man. They established this. Then why?
Oh, God. Because Hiro is a sexist pig.
Oh, God.
He started a new series actually. Barely 6 months after Fairy Tale ended. Which just goes to show how insane he is.
God.
And it looked promising.
Okay.
It had some of the same bullshit as Fairy Tale. But it looked like it had a much stronger premise and characters.
Right.
And the girl actually, well, okay, there was room for improvement, but it looked like, hey, this might not be horrible.
Right.
Nope, it's terrible.
Oh God.
It's just the same crap as Fairy Tale.
That's just. Yeah, that's just depressing, honestly.
It kind of is, yeah.
I'm one of those people, and this goes for like animation as well as maybe not as much for animation, but it goes for most TV series that I watch. And one of the reasons why I stopped watching some TV shows more quicker than others is the lack of sort of material when it comes to the female characters, and also worse when it comes to characters of color, male or female. And Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and this, I know this isn't an animation, but and then that we're doing animation series, but Brooklyn Nine-Nine is one of those shows where you have strong people of color, male and female characters, and they're consistently like that. So it's not like, one of the things that really pisses me off is one of these tropes, and it's a cliche trope called the defanged badass.
The defanged badass. Where
essentially they show a character, usually female, who is there. We are told that she's a badass. We are told that she is, strong, independent woman, can get her shit done, etc., etc. But the moment the male protagonist comes into the story, she is suddenly helpless. Like, she can't do jack shit. Or she doesn't do it. Like, it's not that maybe she can't, but she just doesn't. And you can see that one of the biggest examples, maybe not in animation, but of a TV show with this trope is the Irene Adler from the TV show Sherlock. Where we are told,
why did you have to bring that up?
Because it's the perfect example. Where we're told that the woman is just this badass woman, dominatrix, etc., etc. And then suddenly, as soon as Sherlock is in the picture, she can't do anything. Like, everything that she is so careful and meticulous about just goes out the window. For this one person who she met once.
Why would you bring up Sherlock?
Because it's the perfect example. It is the perfect example of a defanged badass, which somewhat you can see a little bit over here. Like, the only time, Urza, not that much. She's not the best example for something like this. And you do see her sort of in sort of a powerful position, but it's always questioned every time she tells them to do something. They can immediately question her, which if it was a male character they would not.
Right.
Her status as an S tier sorceress is consistently questioned, where she has to prove herself to Natsu, who is not an S tier. You see that kind of trope cycling throughout, and this goes even with like sort of ethnicity, or like a black person or a Muslim person will have to prove themselves to a white person by doing something good for them, that they're not evil. Like, it's not our job. It's not her job to prove to Natsu that she's better, or it's not people of color's job to do something nice to a white person to prove that they're not
evil, like like it's not our job to do that. And it's not Urza's job to consistently prove that, which is what the butt of this entire episode is.
Basically.
And it's said consistently that she's already beat him once.
Yep.
But for some reason now she has to do it again.
This is depressing.
Yeah, and we just watched Mission Hill, which let's get to that one character that we saw here.
Okay, Japan has a very bad reputation when it comes to trans people, non-binary people.
Right.
So we've got what's called an okama in Japan.
Yeah.
Which is basically a drag person in drag.
Right.
Who is acting stereotypically gay and effeminate and just cuddling up against all the boys.
Right.
For a joke.
Exactly. Like, the only point of that person being there and for them to be doing that is because it's funny to people and very offensive to others.
It is.
Which was very depressing to look at after we watched Mission Hill, which had such a refreshing perspective. And then again, we're back in the dumpster.
Mission Hill.
And again, we're back in the dumpster, you guys.
We need some gay.
Gay animators, gay writers, gay directors. Which one are we talking about?
All of the above.
We do, yeah.
I think I have a cure.
To
this.
You might wanna make your point more explicit.
Oh, I think I know an anime.
Oh.
That we could watch. Maybe during Anime April we'll watch this anime. But next time we're gonna cleanse our palates.
Oh God.
This was bad. I'm moving up.
Do you mean anime April or do you mean anime August?
Anime April.
Okay.
I might swap something out.
Uh-huh.
But I need something amazing to cleanse my palate of this garbage, Mariya.
It's understandable. Yeah. No, this was a very it was just, you know what, we started at the bottom. It's only uphill from here.
Can we go to the top and then work back down?
I mean, it's up to you. Yeah, we can do that. It is up to me.
I'm going to do it.
It is up to you. You can make the executive decision.
I'm going to make the executive decision, Mariya.
Okay.
Executive decision. Next time, we're watching one of my favorite shows of all time, ever.
Okay. Cool.
A place further than the universe.
Yep. Okay. Never heard of it.
I hated this.
And we had to watch 2 episodes too, not even just 1.
I hate you for making me watch 2 episodes of these. I agreed to it,
You know why
so it's
I did it.
I know.
You know why I did it.
It was important.
It was. A thing to note, which is something that we've noted consistently, they had 4 fingers.
Yeah, all anime has 4 fingers.
Yeah, which I guess maybe if they spent less time animating that pinky, they would have had better animations. Maybe.
All right.
Maybe.
Fair enough.
Again, it's a big maybe there.
There's a lot
more root problems to this than just the animators, to be fair. To be fair to the animators as well.
To be fair. Yeah, I don't want to blame the animators.
I wouldn't blame the animators either.
This is a higher up decision.
Yeah, the poor guys just do what they're supposed to do, and they just redraw the same shit again and again. Yep. And this is not on you guys, man.
No.
We appreciate you and your work.
I will blame the animation director.
Yeah, you can blame him. That's his job. His job is to make shit look good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not on you animators out there. We love you.
Oh, we love animators. They're great.
We extend our gratitude to your painstaking job of drawing and redrawing the same stuff again and again.
I wish I could credit all of you in every episode that we do, but
there are too many of you. There are too many of you, but just know that if you're an animator for anything, we love you and we appreciate you.
We do. You do God's work.
Yeah. You do God's work and we nitpick at it. We're sorry, but you know.
Sorry.
It's not entirely your fault.
No.
But yeah, so James, out of 4, how many fingers?
I give it a severed limb. This is literally the worst. I would watch all of Rocket Power before any of this.
God, Rocket Power.
I would watch all of Sonic over any of this.
Oh my god, this is bad. Yeah. To think that I sat through 10 episodes of this.
You've seen more of it than I have.
Oh god, it was a while back. It's a blur now. But I watched this in 2014. I watched this in 2014.
I'm sorry.
So it was a while back.
Did I even know you in 2014?
You did not? No, I was not in America in 2014. I was in France, actually.
Ah.
Yeah.
The French.
No, this wasn't because of the French. The poor guys. I got introduced to Spirited Away and Ghibli movies when I was in France because my younger host sister loved watching Japanese movies.
She's got good taste.
The Ghibli stuff. And one of my host sister was on exchange in Japan at that time. And she loved, anime and stuff like that. So the French are very avid readers of manga.
Yeah, those bastards get all the manga. I am so
do.
jealous.
They do. I had so many friends who read manga consistently.
They got fucking Steel Ball Run before us.
Yeah, so the France has a large Japanese
They've
curated
got Medaka Box,
content,
which isn't that good, but I want it.
So yeah, I got introduced to Ghibli movies from my host sister, young one, like she was 8 that time.
Right.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I would also give it a severed limb.
Literally the lowest of the low.
It was bad. This was low tier. We were down deep in the bin trying to pull something out. Yeah, I have nothing good to say about this show, honestly.
I've seen a worse show.
You have? I'm afraid to ask.
Wait. No. I haven't. This is actually the worst.
Oh my god.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess we should just last thoughts. Don't waste your time. Watch something else.
Please.
Rewatch frick, I forget the name.
Full Metal
Alchemist. Just rewatch it.
Oh, yeah.
Just rewatch that, Just
watch that for the 50th time.
Yeah, just rewatch it because it'll be worth more than watching this once. Yeah, or even like half of it.
Half of it.
Just rewatch Full Metal.
Yeah.
Just do that. Do yourself a favor. Just rewatch it, and you will gain gray cells. If you watch this, you will lose. Many gray cells were destroyed in the process of making this podcast.
Yep. Mariya?
Yes.
We're going to make a pact now to never watch Fairy Tail ever again. Deal?
You and I both know we're going to have to break that at some point.
No. Executive decision.
We're going to make a shirt of that, James.
We should.
Executive decision.
Executive decision. We are never watching Fairy Tail ever again. There is nothing we can gain from this.
We have only stuff to lose when watching this. Yep. Okay, I agree with that. I We make a blood pact. I am slitting my palm right now. You better be slitting yours so we can shake it.
Yep.
And transmit each other's diseases to each other via blood cells.
Yep.
Perfect. We are now one and the same.
Yep. Jesus Christ. All right. Next time we're gonna watch 2 episodes of A Place Further Than the Universe.
Yep. All right. See you guys next Monday.
Bye-bye.
Hey, James.
What?
Did you hear?
What?
Satan's opening his new theater in hell.
That's where we live.
And our listeners can join us for just $1.
That costs less than the Netflix subscription I steal.
So head over to patreon.com/chaoticsilly to join us for our exclusive podcast, Movie Night in Hell.
It's like hell in a cell, but with movies.
So join us for our screening of Lou Over the Wall in Hell.
Bring popcorn. No free refills.